Two very strong fragrances from the brand of Maison Asrar, Exotic Oud and Hunter Leo. Hey guys, I'm George, the nice magic gentleman, and it's time for your dose of some fragrance content. It's also time for me to review a few additional scents from the brand of Maison Asrar. Last week I reviewed a few of their relatively new releases. This week it's turn of two other scents. Now lately I've been exploring more and more stuff from Maison Asrar because they seem to be making a comeback or becoming more popular at the second half of 2025, and I just wanted to experience more of their scents and bring you more coverage of them. As I said, the two scents that are featured in today's video are called Exotic Oud and Leo. Now some places have this one selling under the name of Hunter Leo, in some other places this is sold simply as Leo. You can look it up. I think if you write Hunter Leo or simply Leo, you'll find the fragrance that I'm featuring in today's video. This looks very similar to another fragrance that's simply called Hunter, that looks like this. As you can see, the two bottles are pretty much identical apart from their color, and this is the one that I reviewed last week. This is a great clone of Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Mole, Ultra Mole, excuse me. Now this other one, Leo, has nothing to do with the scent of Hunter. So I'm going to start with the review of this fragrance. Now I'm going to very quickly go over the packaging of Leo. Looks like this black colored box with golden accents. It has this cutout in here where you can see that lion head that sits in front of the bottle. It has magnetic edges, which is a nice touch. The concentration here is EDP, the bottle size is 100 milliliters, and the production date, if anyone is interested, is August of 2025. And then bottle design is very similar to that other Hunter. Nice heft. The bottle design has nothing to do with the original scents that this has been inspired by. This also has a pretty strong atomizer, something that I think is pretty common on all scents from Maison Asrar that I've tried so far. As I said, this is inspired by scents, not one original scent, but by two in my opinion, plus some additional touches that the brand of Maison Asrar have done. The two scents that this is very heavily, reminding me of when it comes to the scent of Leo are from Tom Ford, and they're called Ombre Leather and Tuscan Leather. This one feels like a mix between Ombre Leather and Tuscan Leather, plus a bit of an additional touch. Now, in the opening, this smells like a mix between Ombre Leather and Tuscan Leather. The dry down sits closer to Tuscan Leather in my opinion, but it's not super close to neither of those scents because this opens up a lot darker than Ombre Leather and lacks that raspberries fruitiness that you'll find in Tuscan Leather. This feels even darker than Tuscan Leather itself. Feels a little bit more floral than Tuscan Leather, and overall this is like a darker and even more masculine and slightly more challenging version of both Ombre Leather and Tuscan Leather. As if you're familiar with the original scents from Tom Ford, you get tons and tons of the leather note, which is basically the main note in this fragrance. There's some additional sweetness on the dry down. I think there's a bit of vanilla, maybe a hint of ambers. There's some florals with this one, which add not so much freshness or like an aromatic nature. They more add like a green touch to the scent of Leo. It feels a little bit spicy and peppery, and there's quite a bit of musks as well in this one, especially on the dry down, which feel a little bit animalic. And also there's something in here that reminds me of an Agar Oud note. It's not super strong, but it's definitely there, especially in the mid and late dry downs. And that Agar Oud note also feels a little bit challenging and a little bit animalic in a way. So I find this one to be a darker, a more masculine version of both Ombre Leather and Tuscan Leather with an added, Agar Oud note in it. So it's like a little bit of a Middle Eastern take on those original leather-based fragrances. Overall, if you are familiar with Tuscan Leather and Ombre Leather, if you like leather-based fragrances, you'll probably end up liking this one. But keep in mind that this is a little bit on the challenging side, so I'll definitely advise you to try and sample this one before you buy it, because again, you may end up being disappointed and this may end up not being a wearable scent for you personally. The quality is good. In the first few seconds there's a hint of an alcohol, a perfumer's alcohol blast, but after a few seconds that's gone, and overall this is a fragrance with good quality, but again feels a little bit more on the challenging side. Performance wise, it's a strong scent, lasts for a long time, projects quite nicely. I've been getting easily 8 to 9 hours of performance out of it, and the projection is also pretty strong in the first 2 hours. So performance wise, this is a strong scent. Price wise, I think I paid around about 26-7 euros, so around about 30, maybe slightly over $30 compared to the price of the original scents from Tom Ford. This seems like a bargain. And versatility wise, I would say this is a very masculine scent that is strictly orientated towards the colder months of the year. I cannot imagine anyone wearing something so strong and leathery in warm weather. Now let's talk about the second scent that I'm featuring in today's video, which is called Exotic Oud. Now for some reason I just couldn't find the box. I've stashed it somewhere, so I may end up attaching a photo of the actual box, but the important stuff here again is EDP concentration and 100 milliliter bottle size. And then this is the way that the bottle looks. There's another fragrance in this lineup. I think there are like 4 or 5 of them that I own. It's called Yacht Club. It has the exact same bottle design, but it comes again in a blue color. This one in black color with cap that's plastic, and it's in golden color, and again you get a pretty nice strong atomizer. This is another scent that's very familiar to me. This one smells a lot like Oud Maracuja from Maison Crivelli, so yet another Oud Maracuja clone, but this one is one of the better ones out there. And in fact, I would tell you right from the get-go that in my opinion, out of the cheaper clones of Oud Maracuja that I've tried, this ranks in the top 3, along with Exotic Oud from French Avenue and Oud Madness from Fragrance World. This is the third really good clone of Oud Maracuja that I've come across. I've tried clones from different brands, Zimaya, Armaf, and other brands, and none of them, Latafa I think also have a couple that smell similar to Oud Maracuja, but none of them get as close as Oud Madness, Exotic Oud, and now Exotic Oud. The opening is ever so slightly different compared to the original scent. In the opening you get a blast of that passion fruit note, which is the main fruity note in the opening of the original fragrance. You get a lot of spiciness, you get some incense, the florals are there like the rose note, the leather, and the agar oud. But this one feels a little bit more floral in the opening than Oud Maracuja itself, and slightly less leathery. And then on the dry down, and by more floral I mean that this has a stronger rose note, a more pronounced rose note. And then on the dry down, this smells very close to Oud Maracuja, because the dry down is all about the mix of the agar oud, the leather, some vanillic and ambery sweetness with some of the rose still present. But again, even on the dry down, this feels slightly less leathery than Oud Maracuja, but that's up close in the air. This smells very close to Oud Maracuja. And again, overall, this is one of the best clones of Oud Maracuja that I've tried. The quality is good with this one, and it smells very similar. In fact, now that I smell it in the air, even after a few minutes after you spray this one, it starts to sit very close to Oud Maracuja. Another area where this really excels is the performance. This is a very strong scent, just like the original one, just like Oud Madness and Exotic Oud. This lasts for a very long time. Straight out of the box, this was giving me at least 9 hours of performance, so it's pretty beastly when it comes to the performance, and I think that comes down to the whole scent profile, because it's just a great performing scent profile. A few weeks after owning this one, again, easily 9, maybe even up to 10 hours of performance. Strong projection in the first 2.5 hours. So overall, this is a very strong scent. Price-wise, pretty similar to the other one. I think I paid around about 27, 30 euros, so think of it like $30-35 at that price point. Again, it costs a fraction of the price of the original and comes twice the size as a bottle size, 50 versus 100 milliliters. And this one I find to be very unisex, just like the original one, and again, a fragrance that I would wear more in colder months of the year, although I know people who wear this scent profile even in warm weather, but I'm not as brave of them as them. But overall, this is a pretty versatile cold weather scent in my opinion, and unisex. And at the end, I'm going to quickly give you my final thoughts and give you my scores on the two fragrances, as I've been doing lately. When it comes to Leo or Hunter Leo, this one being a hybrid clone between Tuscan leather and ombre leather, is a nice leather based fragrance if you are into this type of scents. But personally I find it to have a little bit inferior quality than, let's say, Exotic Oud in the opening, where I feel a little bit of that alcohol blast when you first spray it. And because this is a more masculine and more challenging, more animalic take on the original scent, I will take a few points off this one because of the wearability, because of the challenging factor. This one I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 score. The good things, the pros about this fragrance are I would say, okay quality, the low price compared to the original scent that this smells close to, and the performance, because this is a strong performing scent. The cons will be the fact that it has slightly inferior quality than I would have expected, and mainly about the challenging scent profile that this one has, because again, even if you're into leather-based fragrances, this feels a little bit more animalic than the original scent and can come across like not as wearable as them. So I will take a few points off and I'm going to give it a final score of 7 out of 10. When it comes to Exotic Oud from Gulf Orchid, this one I would give it a score of 10 out of 10 because I'm a big fan of this scent profile, and this one is one of the best clones, best affordable cheap clones of Oud Maracuja that I've tried. So my scoring will be a 10 out of 10. The pros about this one will be the performance, the good quality, the scent profile, which smells very close to the original one, and the high unisex factor in my opinion. If I have to name a con about this one, it will be because of its slightly limited versatility, because again this is a fragrance for the cold weather months, but apart from that I cannot name any other con, and that's why I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. And so guys, in today's video I reviewed two more fragrances from Maison Asrar and Gulf Orchid, sister brands that I've been trying out lately, that are called Exotic Oud and Leo or Hunter Leo. Both of them are very strong performing scents. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.